and welcome to Amanda's Trying, where sometimes all we can do is try and get through a day, and that's okay. I'm Amanda, and today I wanted to give you guys an update on my TMD treatment, let you guys know what progress has been made, where I'm at in the process, and what's left for that. I'm trying really hard, I promise, but all that I could do today was cuddle my dog and cry. Okay, so some general updates before I get into my treatment update. I'm doing vision therapy. I made a video about the assessment that I had done in December. I have had a few sessions, follow-up sessions since then. I'm currently doing that and hoping that that will help with my dizziness and just eye strain and headaches that might come from my vision system not working quite right. I also have switched anxiety medications, which hopefully will be good, but it was rough weaning off of meds that you're already on and then having anxiety and depression symptoms go up because you're not really on like a therapeutic level of meds for either of the medications that you're taking. That's just rough all around. I've been super up and down this past month due to that, so that's been fun, but I'm hoping that these new medications will not only help with my anxiety symptoms that I experience, but also with some of the depression symptoms that have just been getting a lot stronger. I feel like I'm kind of on the rise again since that medication switch, which is nice. So last year I made a video that outlined all of the treatments that I'm aware of for TMJ disorders and what TMJ disorders are and what the symptoms are, all that sort of stuff. So if you haven't watched that one, then go check it out. I think it'll be in this corner. There will be a link there. Because I also go into detail about what splint therapy exactly is, and if you don't really know, it might be a little bit confusing to just jump into this video, but I will try to briefly summarize what splint therapy is, because that's the treatment that I'm currently in and trying to get to the end of. It's been a long process. Definition of TMD, I'm not going to read it out loud. You can just pause the video and do it yourself. I'm not your elementary school teacher, but my notes are all the way over here, so that's why I'm like looking this way. But so splint therapy is, I got my props like I did last time, guys. Splint therapy is where they make a splint, looks like this, and it goes on your bottom teeth. I literally just had this on, I don't know, okay. It sits on top of your teeth like this, and the idea is that it forces your bottom jaw to go lower, which then increases the space in your ball and socket of your jaw joint so that the bones and cartilage aren't rubbing against each other when you open and close your mouth, but there's space for them to move normally without the pain and bones scraping against each other. So that's what splint therapy is based off of. When I made the video last year, I was wearing splints. I had multiple splints made because it was kind of trial and error of how thick the splint needed to be, how much my jaw needed to be moved. Turns out it needed to be moved a lot because I'm always complicated and life is always hard for me. So I think 3 different splints were made, and by the third one they were like, listen, this is as much as we can move your jaw. We cannot make a splint any bigger than this or else we're going to be doing more damage than good. So hopefully this works. And I wore it and the symptoms did reduce and they're not completely gone, but it's basically as good as it's gonna get for me. For some people, splint therapy completely removes the symptoms that you would have due to TMD, but my case is special, especially because I have concussion and a history of migraines and things like that. I was hit in the head, which means that possibly some of the tendons and muscles in my head were permanently damaged. My jaw permanently got misplaced due to the hit, although it wasn't that hard. I don't really know. It's just a theory. But if you have a more complex health history like I do, I also have had jaw surgery for a different jaw issue. So my jaw can't really get back to normal. It can just get to the best that they can. And so that's fun. But some people, you can like totally get rid of all of your symptoms. But in regards to how the splint treatment has improved my jaw, I don't have jaw locking anymore, which is probably the symptom that would cause the most concern. It used to be that my jaw, if I was using it a lot or there was just a lot of pain that day, my jaw would sometimes just lock and I wouldn't be able to open it past a certain point. And I haven't had my jaw lock since I started the splint treatment, so that's been really great. I have less pain, less jaw tightness, just my muscles aren't as sore anymore in general when it comes to the jaw. I still have clicking. I still do have soreness and pain, but it's not to the extent that it was before. And again, it's just as good as it's gonna get for me, so I guess I just have to suck it up with the rest of the symptoms that I'm experiencing. Here's where, for me, the treatment continues. For some people, if the splint isn't that large and their jaw isn't moved that much, they can go through the splint treatment and get to the point where their jaw is better, and then just take the splint out and their muscles and their jaw and mouth adjust, but keep the jaw in the right position, and they're good. They're done after wearing the splint for a few months. For me, because like I said before, the splint that I ended up wearing and putting my jaw in the correct position, it was basically the biggest splint that they could possibly make without doing damage. And because of that, I can't just take the splint out and then assume that my jaw will stay in the right position. It was moved too much by the splint. So what that means is there needs to be permanent changes to the way that my teeth align so that my jaw stays in the correct position. Let me try and explain it slightly differently if you're not getting it, because I don't know if this is making sense to anyone. Let's just say this is how my teeth were before. And with my teeth like this, the ball and socket in my jaw joint were right against each other. So that was what was causing all of the symptoms and pain. I got the splint, right? And this made my teeth go like this, which, because my jaw got brought down with the splint, it brought the ball of the joint down, which is good. But if I were just to remove the splint, my teeth wouldn't stay like this. They would revert back to what they were originally doing, which would mean that the ball and socket would revert back up to this, which would mean all of my symptoms and pain, jaw locking, all of that would come back. So what needs to happen is there needs to be something permanent done to keep my teeth in this position. But having this massive gap isn't functional, isn't comfortable. It's not realistic for me to have the rest of my life. So what do we do? Well, there are several options because I already had to pay for splint therapy, which was expensive. It's a jaw specialist. It's not covered by insurance. So for some people, they simply can't afford to do further treatment. And that means that for them, they do have to keep wearing the splint indefinitely. Or the next cheapest option is to take the splint out and be in pain and have many, many jaw complications. And for me, wearing a splint for the rest of my life didn't make any sense. It wasn't something I was willing to do. Call me a diva, but I think that's fair. The next option is for on these two back molars. What they did is they created buildups that were the same height as the splint, but made out of the same material that you would use for like getting a crown put on, but it's just like a really thick crown. And I don't know, you might have noticed it with talking. I don't know if this is gonna be gross, but see how it's basically like the height of two teeth stacked on top of each other. The idea is that they put the buildups onto your teeth, and then you don't have to wear the splint because you have these buildups that are keeping your teeth apart like this, and therefore keeping your jaw in the correct position. And then you either get braces or Invisalign. And I chose Invisalign because why would I choose braces if I didn't have to? I've already experienced the joys of braces. Why not give myself the opportunity to have Invisalign?
Oh, we're supposed to call everything we don't want to do opportunities.
They were the same cost, so for me it was just, yeah, of course I'm going to choose Invisalign. And whatever you choose, whether it's braces or Invisalign, then through the orthodontic treatment, your teeth, the rest of your teeth, get moved up to the same level as the buildups, so that soon all of my teeth are gonna be the same level. They're gonna be the same level as the buildups. Then what happens is I have to go back to my specialist. They will remove the buildups and then have a second set of Invisalign trays that will bring up my back teeth that have the buildups, right? Does this make sense? Because once they take off the buildups, these back teeth will be the same level as where my teeth originally were, while the rest of my teeth have been brought up. So then these back three teeth have to be brought up to match the new level. And then my teeth will fit together normally, but they will be, my teeth will be up while my jaw stays in the correct position. I don't know if this makes any sense. If you have questions, you can always comment them and I'll try and explain it. But the timeline for this, for me, my splint treatment was a year and a half about. Normally they say it takes about 10 months, but for me, because we had to try so many different splints and just because my case is complex, it took longer. And with the Invisalign, the whole process, it took a while to actually get started. So once they realized like your splint is large enough that you're going to need Invisalign, I had to go in, get the buildups put on my teeth, and that appointment was about an hour long. And then they wanted me to just live life with the buildups to make sure that it was keeping my jaw in the correct place and that my symptoms weren't increasing. with just the buildups in compared to the Splint. So I had the buildups with nothing else for, it ended up being almost 2 months just because the clinic is so busy that it's hard to get in. Then I have to go back in to scan my teeth for the Invisalign trays. Invisalign then got the scan, created all of the trays. That took about a month. So how many months is that? I've already lost. So that's about like 3 months since they said like, hey, you're going to need an Invisalign. So about 3 months later, I went back and I had to have the attachments made because for Invisalign, you get these little bumps that are like the same color as your teeth, and it's just what the Invisalign trays attached to. And so that took about an hour, and the jaw specialist has an in-house orthodontist that will now be reviewing my my progress. So the whole thing took about almost 4 months to just get the Invisalign treatment started. But now we have that happening, and so it should be smooth sailing. So ideally, the way that my jaw specialist does the Invisalign process, you get all of your trays for like the first part of the process, moving the teeth up to the buildups. You get all the trays all at once. And so ideally, you pick them up, you go home, and you don't have to go in to the clinic until you are done with those set of trays. And there's this really cool technology. I should have grabbed it. So the way that they monitor how your teeth are doing and whatever is through an app. So they had me download the app and then gave me this. So what it does is you put your phone in here. Darcy needs to check it out. And this part goes over your camera. And then this, sorry, he's really freaked out by this. So your camera is looking this way. And then you put this over your mouth, right? And then your phone, through the app, is able to scan your teeth, and the scans get sent directly to the jaw specialist. Yeah. I'm sorry, he's so loud. Oh my gosh. So, with this and the app that you download, you don't have to go into the clinic in person for them to check how you're progressing with the Invisalign treatment. You just scan the app or scan your teeth once a week, and they just say, looks good, keep going, or there's something wrong. What could go wrong? Well, really the only thing that could go wrong is one of the bumps, the attachments on your teeth, could fall off. And they told me that never happens. Sorry, I should stop. Okay. That almost never happens. It's so rare. And I was like, let me tell you this before I leave here today. It will happen to me. You will be seeing me again. Because they were like, see you in 6 months. And I was like, I mean, hopefully, but I'm telling you, no. Guess what happened? Not even 48 hours after I got my Invisalign. Yes, one of the attachments fell off. So I have to go back in next week. Literally for 5 minutes. So that sucks, but that's just my bad luck. The average person wouldn't need to go back in. So hopefully after my appointment next week, where I get the attachment but put back on, I don't have to go back in for 5 more months. And then when I have gone through my first set of trays, I'll go back in, get my buildups taken off my teeth, get my second set of Invisalign trays. Hopefully that will take even less than 6 months to raise up my back teeth, and then I'm done. I am done treatment. I never have to worry about my jaw again. Probably not. But that is the plan. So hopefully this kind of helps you understand what is happening with me. But if you also struggle with TMJ and are like, I don't even understand what splint treatment is, and I don't understand the process, and they're not explaining it or whatever, because I know that health professionals aren't always very good at that, maybe this helps you understand the process a little more. Invisalign so far has been a pretty decent experience, aside from the attachment falling off immediately. And to finish off the video, as always, my song recommendation. Today I am recommending the song called Breathe, and it's by Lehigh. I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. For me, that it's just been really up and down for me, emotionally and like mentally. I've had some pretty scary thoughts in the past couple months, and there are days when it does feel really hard to just keep breathing, and it doesn't seem like people necessarily understand that. And at the end of the song, after, the different choruses that just say like, listen, I don't know why it's so hard for you to breathe, but I can see that you're just putting everything into continuing to do that. And at the end of the song, it just ends with like, you're doing so good. Sometimes the most comforting thing isn't for people to solve your problems. Sometimes you just need someone to say, hey, I don't really get why this is so hard. Like, I can't understand how much effort you're putting in, but I see that you are trying so hard, and I'm proud of you, and I'm rooting for you, and I'm just gonna tell you, keep going, because you're doing a good job just by staying alive. Please go and listen to the full thing. Go and watch Lehigh's music video, read the lyrics, and I will see you next time. 남들 눈에 힘 빠지는 한숨으로 보일진 몰라도 나는 알고 있죠. 작은 한숨 내뱉기도 어려운 하루를 보냈다가 이제 다른 생각을 봐요. So I don't even know. Are these supposed to be? I don't think these are the same. Whatever. It doesn't matter. They're not. Oh, maybe. Sure. No. Huh? Wow, what? Okay, we're just gonna restart.